All righty, guys, here we go. This is Renegade Marketing for the 18th of February. Can you believe that's 6 weeks into the new year already? It blows my mind how quickly time goes when you are on this side of 50, you know? Anyhow, let's talk, because I got a good friend of mine here on today's call. And this is Kelly Snowden. Kelly and I have been business partners 13 years, Kel, 14 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And in our world of mortgage lending, you get to know a whole bunch of different folks, and you learn, from everybody, honestly. But Kelly and I, we come from a similar mindset. We're people who, we don't just talk about doing stuff, we actually do stuff. And those folks are rare. And so when I got to know Kelly and we started putting things together and different programs and different marketing campaigns and different ways that we could help each other, it was just an obvious synergy. And I wish that for every single one of you guys on this call, because when you find that person, they become an incredible business resource for you. And I got to tell you, Kelly has been by far, hands down, without even a close second, the greatest business partner I've ever had in mortgage lending. And just from introductions and going to events and chili cook-offs and softball games with the Realtor Association, you name it. We've done it all, crab feeds to farming and everything else in between. All right. So one thing that has changed about our relationship is that the rules as to how a title company could help you as a loan officer or a realtor in California got really tight. Kelly, what's the Senate bill? Senate bill, what was the number? SB something.
SB 133.
Geez, and you got it burned into your brain. You know exactly what it is. Which was one of the rules that changed what a title company can and cannot do, and how much help they can give you and how much they can't. Now, if you're like AP and you live in Arizona, I mean, it's still the Wild West. You can do pretty much everything with your title rep, and I'm jealous as heck of you, brother. Heck of jealous because of that.
I am jealous too.
Because so each state has different rules, and obviously, because this one is Senate Bill such and such here in the state of Cali. But where you are, David, Marissa, Sky, you guys may have different rules into your state. So check with your local title rep that you're becoming friendly with, or with whom you're becoming friendly. See that, James? I changed it again. There you go. I tell everybody, Kelly, that every time I do use poor grammar, I feel like my mom smacked me in the back of the head, and I got to fix it every single time. So there it was, right there.
I get it.
Yep. Anyhow. So check with your local title company. I'm going to endorse WFG because that's where Kelly is. And I primarily endorse them because that's where Kelly is. I follow Kelly to 3 title companies now. But each and every one of them had incredible resources, and most of them do. And they're available to you. You just got to do some research. What we're going to talk about today is one of the programs that I use on every single loan. Okay, every single loan that I originate or one of my proteges originates, we use this particular program to do property profiles, to do tax research. And what I really didn't understand until Kelly introduced it to me was the way that we can do farming now electronically, to create lists and to really refine what we want to go and look for. In terms of a target audience. And so simple stuff that you guys can do. Let's say you're working with a realtor and they have a house that's listed and you're the person doing the open house with them on, tomorrow, as an example. You could do a farm, like a radius search farm around that address, and get emails and phone numbers of all the neighbors, within a certain level of distance, and contact them and invite them to the open house. I know a lot of realtors that have an open house during the middle of the week, like on a Thursday evening, that is just for the neighborhood, not for prospective buyers. It's just a neighborhood open house, and that's what they do. They invite neighbors only to that particular thing, but they need to know how to do it. And they either do labels and postcards. James, you'll know. I mean, you've been in real estate forever, so you understand that too, right? And or phone calls or door knocking. I mean, the door knocking is effective because it's in person, but boy, is it slow because it's you walking door to door to door. You could do the phone calls just like we do with radius searches, looking for a present listing and calling the realtor now. So this is just using technology to our advantage, but this resource allows us to do that. And I was actually doing some marketing research in my time block yesterday, believe it or not. And I came across a saying that I really enjoyed, and it's resonating with me now, and it is this: the target will attract the arrow, which is somewhat backwards in the way that you would think, because usually you're shooting the arrow at the target, right? Well, if you identify what the target is, in this case, in our marketing, if we identify the target, now we become the arrow. And simply all we are trying to do is identify exactly how to connect with that target. And that's just messaging, you guys. It's simply nothing more than that. It's messaging. So my suggestion here is this. I want to show you guys this program. I want Kelly to kind of give us a rundown of it, and I'll share my screen and we'll do everything with this. If you don't already have a Fetch account, I need you to put your email address and your cell phone number in the chat, okay? And then I'll copy the chat at the end and I'll send that off to Kelly so that she can have it, okay? And then you guys can set up an account, right? I mean, Kelly, it depends on her busy, and she's off today, and Monday's a holiday, but I'm going to assume we can request accounts early part of next week. Am I correct,
You know
Kelly?
that you can request them today and I'll get them done.
See, there you go, promising the world.
Listen, we're in this together. We'll help each other.
We are definitely that. All right. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and show you my Fetch account so that you guys can get an idea what this program looks like. Okay. So this is, a search that we did. Actually, let me clear this search. Help me, Kel. There we go. Okay. So let's see here.
Now, Ed,
Yeah.
you have to explain to them what steps you took to get there.
Yeah, I'm going to back up. I thought I
Okay.
had cleared everything first, but evidently I had not, but here we go. Okay. All right. So this is just once you log in to this particular account, this is what you're going to end up with, something like this, or a pop-up that'll say, what kind of search are you looking for? You can X out of that, and here's where you land. All right. Yeah, obviously, that's me in the upper right-hand corner, my account, all the different stuff that I've got. And I've pre-filled my wallet with a little bit of money on here, and I'll show you guys what that's about. Okay. But here right now, what we're looking at is actually like a map of the Sacramento area. And I am assuming that it's located here because this is the general area where our office is in SAC. And it's associated with your licensing. So more than likely, this is probably where it will set up. I don't know if that will remain true for those of you that are outside of the state or not. But I want you guys to get a look at this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to essentially plug in an address so that, and we're going to go from there to kind of essentially figure out where I want to be searching. So for instance, we've all talked about marketing to a specific area geographically, and we want to find some targets. Let's just assume we want to do it in and around our home address, okay? So we're going to plug in a home address, or now, and for me, it's a former home address, but I'll plug it in here. And let's see here. There it is. And why is it not working? Because I'm not going there. That's why. Here we go. Okay. Property address, 717 Thompson's. Okay. So this is just a simple property search is all I'm doing, you guys. I'm bringing up, for me, a former home address. Okay. All right. So there's the information. It immediately pops up with just your general information about that particular property. From this little gear, I can do a property profile, which I do on every single loan I do. I don't care if it's a purchase or a refi. I'm doing a property profile with some comparables on every one of them. Why is that? On a refi, if I'm doing a refi, I need the information, and I'm going to submit this information along with my tax search and all other kind of information about this property to help, build my ultimate submission if I'm sending this to UWM or anywhere else for that matter. It's just good information to have. It's also a way for me to identify the liens that are on the property, how the property is vested, also important information. If there's any random different things that I would want to pay attention to, like for instance, if I pull the property address and it's titled or vested in a name that isn't the borrower with whom I'm speaking, now all of a sudden I'm like, well, do I have the right address? Am I talking to the right person? Do they own this house? How do they own this house? And it's creating a number of different questions about that for me. But for now, what we've got is just the information, and which is great, and the location. So with this, I can start from here to do a radius farm. So I've identified where it is, and I'm just going to back up on the map over here so you guys can get an idea. So you can see it's just any old property in any old neighborhood, fill in the blanks wherever, right? I mean, that's just where I lived. All right. Now I'm going to go over here to, I'm going to copy this actually. I'm going to go into farming. And what I'm going to do is let's do a boundary search. Okay, there's all kinds of different types of searches that you can do. Let's see, your search criteria and results will be lost. Are you sure? Yep. Okay, so now I'm inside of that general area, and knowing where I was at the time in terms of where I resided, I want to say that I just want to do the area within like the major streets. So you see this little tack here. I'm just going to click tacks along the area here and just draw a boundary. Okay. Notice it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but all I'm doing is I'm essentially going along Marsh Creek. Kelly knows where that is. And drawing an area, and therein lies, oops, I made a mistake. My bad. I'll do it quicker this time. Yeah, that's fine. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so I drew the event, or I'm sorry, I drew the area there. That highlighted area is the search area that I'm looking for now. I gotta move all y'all's faces because you're coming into my way here. And I see that there's a whole bunch of people that have put their information into the chat. Okay, so now that's the farming area that I'm looking at in particular, and I'm going to pull information from within that highlighted area only. The rest of the area that's not purple, I'm not going to pull that information. I'm just looking in that neighborhood. And this could be if I was doing any kind of different farm. It could be for a listing in that neighborhood, and I wanted to invite just the people in that highlighted area to come to the open house or whatever. Or it could be, this is where I live. I want to help the people that are my immediate neighbors with some refinancing. And I lost somebody there. Somebody's not muted is what it is. Okay. But from here, I can pull any number of different details. So I could pull information specifically about their existing loan. I could see if there's any non-owner occupants in here. I can look for any number of different things. But again, it's about me first identifying what's the target. What am I looking for first? And let's just talk about getting a couple of refinances, because everybody could use one more loan in their pipeline. Do I agree? Everybody's with me? You have to participate. All right. Okay. So now that I've got this search area in here, now what I want to do is essentially pull the information. And so from here, help me, Kelly. What am I doing wrong?
You're not doing anything wrong. Now you have to click on it.
I'm clicking in it.
Right click maybe?
No. How about
Oh, you have to push the button at the top where you just to next.
It's not allowing me. It's covered. Why is it covered?
Hit the escape button, Ed.
I did that too.
Huh.
Yesterday we just, okay, see over there, that little plus and minus, or do you just have it too large?
It's not, nothing's, the map
I've
is,
never seen that.
it's
Maximize
almost-
the screen.
maximize the screen?
Well, make it bigger and maybe that gray will go to the top.
Well, see do you see the shaded area at the top of the map?
Yeah, I do see that. And then at the bottom that says select map street type. See the little arrow down here?
Yeah,
So maybe your street, satellite, physical, hybrid.
yeah. No, I mean, the map, it's identified. It should allow me to go to the next thing, which would
I
be
know
next.
you need to be able to hit next right there.
Okay. So maybe it's because
Technical difficulties. This is what we do, trial and error.
let me see if I can get out of it by not sharing for a second.
Okay.
Mine did the same thing one day in a search, and I just hit the escape button, and it went, that gray bar at the top went away, and everything was there. So it just doesn't like you today, Ed.
It's just it's because you're on the screen with me, David.
I love that David was actually in there doing that search. That's excellent.
It's too much beauty in one place, Ed. That's what
That's
it
what
is.
it is.
You and I are we're throwing a monkey wrench in the universe's vortex.
Oh my goodness.
Just too much sexy in one place.
That's right.
I can't wait to see you two together in person one day. That is going to be a sight to see.
Oh, stop. Sit down. Get down. Relax. You're good. All right, let me try this here.
It's always the universe's way to challenge us when we're doing a demo.
You know it exactly. Well, I tried a different search, and it's doing the same thing. It's got that little thing up at the top that is not allowing me to click into it. So I'm going to do a different kind of farm. How about we do an area search?
And I'm sorry, I'm going to pop out for a little bit to go to the forum, and then I'll come back, okay?
Do your thing.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm so
Okay. Kel, do we think that fetch might be down again or something?
I don't know. Let me log into my account really quick. I don't think so.
No,
'cause-
I think it's just yours because
It might
I'm
just be.
following along and mine is not showing me that gray bar on top.
Okay.
Ed, how
Every
many
time I
browsers
click
do
it,
you
it's
have
doing the
open?
exact same thing.
Do
Every
you have a
single,
million browsers open?
no, 2.
The only thing I can think of is that the circle is appearing very large.
The circle?
Yeah, like on the screen, it shows purple and it looks really large. And then at the bottom, it's showing you hybrid or street view. Maybe if you change that, it'll get rid of the gray.
Maybe. Okay.
You're not sharing the screen any longer. I can't see.
No, I'm not, because I'm fighting with it. That's why.
Okay, so this is good to know. The greatest thing about this is you just escape, you start the search over, and these things happen to every single one of us.
Okay. Clear search. I'm clearing the entire search area. So now I'm going to go back into here and we're going to try this one more time. I'm going to share from here. Boom. All right. So let me back up out of here.
Go radius search, Ed.
Okay.
That's what I always use.
Now notice it's grayed out again, but
Log out, log back in.
okay. If I could get to an area where I could log out. My goodness.
I've never seen that happen before,
Well,
but David said he did.
I'm gonna completely close the browser. I'm gonna clear my cache and then I'm gonna start again. Sorry, you guys.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm reading some of the information for users, and I'm going to start typing in users' names while Ed's fixing this. And what you'll receive from me is an email that says, "Welcome to Fetch." And even if you're out of state, I have a single source solution of an escrow team that will help my out of state. We are a national company, so we didn't have that in place before, but they have finally put that into place for me. I'm very excited about it. I came from a very large title company where I have sold all 50 states. So I'm familiar with your states, whether you're a preliminary title state in like California, or whether you're out somewhere in another area where you're going to use a closing attorney. So we'll help you one way or the other with your needs and hopefully earn some business. But I'm going to start sending credentials, Ed, while you get re-logged in.
Yeah, please.
Today it's called Fetch, not Fetch.
They chose the name Fetch, and I was like, why'd you choose that? And it's a little man running. And all I could think of is the old browser that had the little dog with the bone. Remember, Ed? And it would go out to multiple search engines. But the reason they call it Fetch is because it's going out to all the websites, gathering the data and bringing it all back together for us.
Okay. So this is what I did. I changed the size of my boundaries here of the screen itself. So I just basically minimized the screen, and that worked. That got rid of that little area there. So again, there's the boundary search that I drew. And now I'm clicking on to next. Y'all are seeing this, right?
Yep.
Yes, we
Good
can see
news.
it.
Phew, man. Okay. So within that boundary now, I can pull any of this data that's across the top. General information, tax information, custom filters, premier data. The premier data is where the money is. These are the things that you pay for out here and where the asterisk is. Everything else is free of charge. Okay. You're obviously going to get addresses and the names of the owners when you do a search like this, or maybe that's not so obvious, but you're definitely going to do that. And what I want to make sure that you guys understand is that it's really pretty simple just to get to here, even though it didn't look like it was super simple. But from what I'm going to tell you is you can see here that this is pulling single families and condos. I'm going to be greedy because I want it all. I want duplexes. I want triplexes. I want quads. You know, I can put in here as multifamily or any of these other ones. I could look for ag. I could look for apartment buildings. I could look for, you know, sales, casinos, cemeteries. Lots of borrowing going on in cemeteries, by the way. No, none of that. But you get my meaning. You can see a whole bunch of different stuff in here, obviously, that you can go searching for. But for our purposes, we lend on 1 to 4. Okay. So single to 4 unit condominiums, that's our primary target. Okay. So the target, you know, has identified the arrow. You know, I'm the arrow going towards those things. Do I care about any of this other data for the purposes of being on this call? The answer is no. I'm looking for what I want inside of this particular area, inside that boundary in the state of California. I'm looking for any of that type of property. All right. When I'm looking at taxes or assessments, this could be in particular about, you know, what year, if there's any particular delinquencies. This would be something if I was looking for liens or tax delinquencies. Maybe I wanted to find folks that I knew had a need to borrow against their property because they were delinquent on their property taxes. Well, that would be a very specific identified target. And here I am, me being the arrow, looking exactly as to how I'm going to target that group of people. because I want to see, hey, look, you're behind in your taxes. If these things go to a lien, then you're in real trouble, because anybody goes and buys that lien, they now own your house, right? That's the way it works, by the way. Taxes go in advance of all of the loans against the property, which is the reason primarily that lenders are constantly looking to make sure that your tax bill is paid, because they don't want that tax bill going in front of them. Because if that does happen and the tax bill goes to a lien status, and someone comes in and buys the tax lien or pays the tax lien, all of the subsequent liens are wiped out, meaning that lender, it has nothing. They are not going to get paid at all. They lose all of their status and the property transfers to somebody else. You've seen stuff like that on late night television infomercials, people talking about buying properties for $5,000 that are worth $500,000 or something like that. That's the situation. Okay. So I could look for that if I wanted to. Other information, if I wanted to look specifically in a census tract, or specifically with a particular route of carrier for the mail or whatever. Census tract information, there's a lot of down payment assistance or government assistance types of things that are done by census tract. Census tract is just a different way to identify on a map.
Run over by an automobile.
Say again? I'm sorry, hello? Okay. Anyway, that's what that would be about, is like if you wanted to target specifically an area that is identified as one that you could target a particular down payment assistance program or some sort of financing program that is unique to those types of census tract. You'll find those a lot of times in areas that have been identified as, well, the previous presidency called them like opportunity zones, essentially just areas that are low to moderate income. They identify in that particular area. And then sometimes there are much better programs or programs that lift restrictions in those areas on purpose. You can customize, as you can see. So in other words, I can look for people that might be an empty nester. They've been in that house for 30 years or more, and it's got 3 bedrooms and whatever. So why would I want to do that? Maybe because they're an empty nester, now they're looking to downsize, and that's a home that might be available for sale. And given that they've been there for 30 years, maybe they own it outright, and maybe they don't have any loan on it whatsoever. So maybe now's a time to pull some cash out, to do some improvements, to stay there forever, whatever. I mean, you can do any number of different things. And of course, you got non-owners, everything that's in here. And this is great ways to pull info. The last one I'm going to show you guys here is the Premier data. This is where I'm going to be really looking for information here. Okay. Notice, you can get life events. You can get any number of different things that are shown up on here for different pennies per record. Okay. Kelly and I did a search yesterday, and I had to kill it because I killed that browser, but we did a search yesterday where, Kel, we can actually show them how to do that right here in this area. Can we not?
Well, you have to go back, you have to exit out of here.
And go to statistics, right?
And then which search do you want to show them? The statistics of the turnover ratios, or you want to show them a surname? What do you want to show?
I think first thing I wanted to show them were the various different life events that went on.
Yeah, that's a lead sheet.
Yeah.
So finish going through the tabs here, and then I'll take you to the lead sheet.
Exactly. Let's do that. Okay. So again, now the custom information or the Premier data are the 3 on the right: mortgage information, lead information, and phones and emails. Just so you guys have an understanding, the phones and emails is a company that does the searches for the information that you have here. But Kelly, tell us exactly when we look for phones and emails, and I'll do it here in front of you guys so you get this chance to see it. What's most important about me looking at my downloaded list once I've added that as a filter? I need to do something. I need to wait, correct?
You have to step away. You must step away, go play with another part of this. So if you wanted to purchase and do that, it's as if you were, and you have to have enough money in your wallet. So for example, if you go to the gas station and you're putting in your credit card and you want $50, it's going to do a little hold, but charge you $1. And then once you get your gas, it's going to charge you the actual. So what happens is, if you do not wait for the little man to go fetch and run out to the data sources into the universe of the web and pull in the data, you'll be very disappointed at the capture ratio. So when Ed, you go to purchase this, we'll step away and then we'll come back and you'll show them, because if you click on the Excel too soon, you will not get the capture ratio that you're meant to get. Email capture ratio is at about 35% and phone ratios are 75%. So it's real important to wait that time.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So you guys, you can see the various different things that I can look for on here. All right. I can have the first loan amount, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that it's greater than or equal to, and I'm going to say $250,000. Okay. Why am I doing that? Because I know this area pretty well. 250,000 bucks is a very low loan amount in this particular area. Okay. And I want that because, again, there's another reason. I know what our commission rates are, and I'm looking to make, $3,000 or more on a loan. Okay. Because then at that point in time, it makes the expense of the marketing and everything else, it works itself out for me. And I'm just saying that for my purposes. And you can pick a number out of the clear blue sky, or you can use whatever works well for your particular area. It's up to you guys. All right. A loan is a loan is a loan at this point in time. All right. So I want that. And I'm going to look for things that are a loan to value that are less than or equal to, and I'm going to put in here 70%. Now I'm choosing 70% because I know how this system works. It pulls an AVM. They use an AVM automatically inside of Fetch. Okay. And it gives an idea of what that value might be. Now it's no different than any other AVM, meaning that it's a guess, it's using good information, but at the same time, it's still a guess. And I want to make sure that I build in enough cushion in there for me to be able to identify a particular type of ability to do cash out refinances, which is what I'm thinking here for this particular target. I want to do cash out refis. Okay. So does it matter per se that I have enough equity in there to do some cash out? Yep. And I'm looking to have the money that's in there to pay for the refinance, like in other words, the closing costs on the refi, and then also to be able to consolidate some of their consumer debt. We've had a run up in appreciation. We've had a great run in terms of appreciation, and it continues at least to a degree. But with inflation and with rates going up, the availability of that money, that increased equity in people's homes, is becoming more and more expensive to go in and get. So I want to tap into the timing of right now before rates get even higher by summertime or even by the fall, if that's the direction that you think rates are going, and capture these people right now and say, let's do this refi now, capture some of that equity, pay off everything that you owe, maybe even have a little bit of money to put into a nest egg. If you want to do an addition, you want to paint the house, you want to build a fence, whatever you want to do, and have them to be able to do that with a little bit of extra cash. And that's what that's for. And I'm assuming no matter what type of loan, 80% is going to be my max cash out. That's just my assumption. It has nothing to do with anything else other than the fact that if it's an FHA buyer or borrower, 80% is the max. If it's VA, you can go to 100% now with cash out. So there's a wide range of equity available depending upon the type of borrower. And I can look in here and see, I want specifically conventional finances. I want FHA. I want VA. I can identify those. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify, and you can see construction is in there as well. Let me arrow down a little bit. So let's see if they cover everything here. I'm going to pick conventional. I'm going to pick FHA, and I'm going to pick VA. Now, because I didn't pick these two, does that mean that those two will not show up? Not necessarily. Okay, I've seen plenty of FHA reverse mortgages end up in my searches. Just have to identify that by the type of lender that you'll see. You'll see, in fact, it'll say some sort of identifier that'll speak to the fact that it's either a HECM, HECM is the acronym, and it's a home equity conversion mortgage is what that means. That's a reverse mortgage. And that's what those are. So I'm going to try my best to eliminate those by selecting there. Okay. And now I'm going to get a count of who has a 70% or less than a loan to value and has loan amounts that are above 250,000, equal to or above 250,000, and are in that three types of categories for loans. So we're doing the search now. It's thinking, it's doing its fun business. And there's 1,200 properties in that range. How do you like them apples? Okay. Anybody excited about that besides me? Evidently
Yes,
not.
of course.
Now, what I did not do was put an interest rate number on there. So I wanted you guys to see the number of properties that fit into that category, just loan amount, loan to value. There's 1,207, okay? And you see how much that list would cost me, $60. Now I'm gonna add a interest rate of greater than or equal to. What do you guys think? What would be a good interest rate for someone to make a decision that they're going to do a refinance because their rate is too high given present interest rates, what's available out there in the market?
Anything above 4.5, I guess.
Okay, anything above 4.5? Anyone else have an opinion?
Well, how much credit card debt do you have?
You tell me, AP.
Well, if I have $30,000 in credit card debt and the average interest rate on my credit card is, let's say I have really good credit, so it's 15%, and that's 15% of $30,000. And let's say that, you know, you're making like the minimum payments. So, you know, that could be about 271 months before you pay those credit card debts off at 15%. Now, if you calculate the amount of interest on your mortgage now with the amount of interest that you're going to pay on this credit card, you're going to spend a lot more money than if you do a cash out refinance to pay off those credit cards at a much lower interest rate.
I don't
So-
disagree at all. So what rate do you want me to put in here, brother?
15.
15.
I'm just saying. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. 3.5.
3.5.
No,
So 3.5%.
4.
Well, I mean, if we're talking to people who already have a mortgage and they got a 30-year mortgage, and let's say that, you know, they got it from Loan Depot or something, that's, you know, 3 to 3.5% if they got it like last year or something. Because we're
All right,
looking
so-
for old mortgages, not new mortgages.
I'm
New
trying to
mortgages-
follow your logic, and I'm understanding what you're saying is if we assume that they have consumer finance debt and that debt is financed at a higher interest rate than what their mortgage would be, it may make sense for them to consolidate that debt into their mortgage. Do you
Yeah.
think there's also going to be people in this search that we look for that are going to have a 3.5% rate that have no consumer debt or limited consumer debt? And if they're looking for cash and they have a 3.5% rate, does it make sense for them to go to 4?
Well, it depends on what they're trying to get cash for. What
does
is the
depend.
need that they need cash?
It does depend. So again, this is kind of up to you guys as to how you want to, what's your target? What are you trying to do? So I'm going to make a different assumption right now, AP, just to kind of give you an idea. Okay. Standard conventional rates right now that I'm pricing out are around the 4% number, right? Maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher, depending, right? I'm going to choose anybody that has a rate that is at least, from my benefit, for maybe it's 5% or above. Now you're going to say to me, Ed, who the
That's
heck
what you're saying.
has a rate of, actually, let me put 4.99. Who has a rate of 4.99 or above today? I mean, we just went through this refi boom. We got all this craziness where they could have had all this opportunity. Watch this, you guys.
Down payment assistance, people.
So now that that's in there, now it's the same parameters. That 1,200 is going to change. And let's see what it comes to. 82. So I just cut that number by, basically 1,100 people, but there are still 82 people out there, 82 homes in that one little area that I drew that have an interest rate over 5. Okay. That should blow your mind. It blows mine. It completely blows my mind. So now I'm going to add one last filter to this. Okay. And that is the phones and emails. Notice nothing has changed. All of my information remains here. There's still the 82 properties. And I'm going to add for both phones and emails. All this is going to tell me, you guys, is what the cost is. Okay. So I got an estimate of $13.94. Okay. I'm going to take this query and I'm going to buy this right now. Okay.
Is that the total? Is that the total or just for phones and emails?
That's the total.
Total.
Okay. Now, Seymour, what I want you to understand is that's the estimate if all 82 records had both a phone and an email, which is not going to be the case. As what Kelly said, you're going to get a percentage of those 82 people. They're going to come back with one or the other or both. Okay.
Right.
So not 100% of the information that you get, it's not going to be that this dollar amount here is not going to be what you ultimately end up paying. It's going to be something less than that because you're going to get a refund of the difference. So the program does that for you. All right. So here's what's up. And now that we're here, I can display these records. And this is where Kelly said, now walk away. All right. Now get the heck up out of here. Because if you mess with this right now, even though the results just popped on your screen and you're going to see the map come up here and everything like that, if you start playing with this right now, you're going to screw it up. So leave it alone. Kelly, what do you recommend? How much time?
30 minutes.
All right. So at this point in time, what I would normally be doing is just minimizing my screen and letting it do its business in the Ethernet. Okay. But before we do any of that, I want you guys to identify, just take a look and see. Look at how many homes in that tiny little area have an interest rate over 5. Does that like really, I mean, it blows my mind. I don't know about y'all, but it's pretty impressive. Okay. I mean, that's a lot. So with that information, let me move this little thing out of the way again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll over here to the right, just so you guys can get an idea of the volume of the information that's available. Okay. Notice we got some phones in here and some emails that are already popping. You got the name of the owner. I've got APN, tract number, the type of property it is. So let's say if I wanted to see what other property type is in here. So I'm going to scroll down. It's all single families. There wasn't any other types. Okay, that's cool. How about if I want to know which is owner occupied, which is non-owner occupied? Well, look at the volume of non-owner occupieds right in there. Okay, look at that. That's pretty impressive. All right. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys why this is important. All right. So out of the 82 numbers, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people who have a non-owner occupied property in this neighborhood right here. And here are your various different interest rates that are over here to the right. Now, can I get a better rate than what I see over there for any of these people with their non-owner occupieds? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we just had some changes to the loan level price adjusters. But if you made some assumptions at 70% loan to value, et cetera, you could figure out a price on, any of these properties, depending upon what their specifics are with their parameters. And you can make an assumption about credit as well. If you own a non-owner occupied, you have to have a decent credit score. At least you did when you bought the house. So as I continue to move over here to the right, you can also make some assumptions as well as to the bank, as to who's carrying the note. So Washington Mutual, Diversified Capital, World, Washington Mutual again. Let's see, World. These companies have been, well, WAMU doesn't exist anymore. Neither does World. Okay. So they don't even, these companies don't even service this loan anymore. It's been bought by somebody else and we don't know who that is. The servicing isn't tracked by this particular service, but you can get an idea where their rate is, and they haven't done a refi yet. So whomever bought the servicing of their loan is like, hey man, we're good. We're okay. Keep taking 6.39% interest rate. And why wouldn't you be, right? If you're a bank, and that's on a $600,000 loan. I mean, that's all good, right? This loan went into effect in 2007. What does that tell you about that particular loan as well? Well, it was pre-meltdown. This is something I want you all to pay attention to, all right? Because depending upon where you are in anywhere USA, the date of that loan is going to matter. I'm going to stop the share for a second because I want to lock eyes with you all, okay? Here's what you need to understand. When you had a loan before the meltdown and you see banks like Washington Mutual, World Savings, countrywide, and they have interest rates that seem exceedingly high given today's marketplace. The assumption I'm going to make, because I lived through that trash, is this: they had some kind of a pay option arm or some sort of an adjustable type of interest rate loan that has more than likely been modified. I'm making that assumption because what fool is going to keep that interest rate in present day? I mean, if you're a non-owner occupied in particular, you're savvy enough to know how to do your financing. Okay. So I'm sitting there looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, if I was one of these folks and I own multiple properties or at least one property, and I went through the mortgage meltdown, I survived, I kept my house, I still got that house, and it's 15 years later, right? Some sort of a adjustment more than likely went on during the course of the meltdown or immediately after the meltdown to modify that deed. That's not going to show up on these lists. They're not going to repost out what the new interest rate is that they negotiated after the fact. This is just about recorded data. It's not about data that they went and they re-recorded after the fact. They made a modification post closing this loan that you're looking at. You can have that assumption when you're making these calls. Why is that of benefit to you? Because the borrower is going to sit there and say, well, I got this screaming deal now. They spread it out over 50 years. They dropped my interest rate from 6 to 4, and I'm good. My payment's fine. Okay. And I'm just making cash, counting it with my tongue. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. And because I've got this low interest rate and my payments are low and I'm cash flowing like crazy. Or I'm a homeowner and I'm fine. I don't want to touch this loan because they reduced it down to 1.5% over 45 years. My payment's ridiculously low. What's the benefit in me refinancing? The benefit is about the equity appreciation, and it's about the cash, okay? Because they can't touch it. They can't touch it. And the only way that they're going to be able to get into it now, if it will even allow, the primary lender will even allow, is to do some sort of a second mortgage or a HELOC or something to that effect. After modifications, usually the information that's written into these loans and to the agreements that is made is like, no, we will not subordinate. We will not allow a subordinate lien. In other words, you can't go get another loan to tap into that equity because you can put yourself right back in the same position you were before. You're going to harvest all that equity out of that house. You're going to spend like you're some college kid on a bender, and all of a sudden the market corrects, and now we're underwater again, and I'm out the money that you're supposed to pay me as the lender. So I'm not going to let you do that. Or if I am going to let you, I'm going to let you do it only to a certain dollar amount, that where I think that there's more than enough cushion in there to let you go ahead and basically not hang yourself with the volume of rope that this other lender is willing to give. So if that buyer, owner, person, whoever wants to harvest that equity, they got to pay that loan off. Now, if you've had a house since 2007 and you live in California in a suburb called Brentwood, I'm going to tell you right now, you got about $500,000 of untouched equity in that house, and you can't even reach into it. You know how thirsty that makes somebody? I mean, especially somebody who's in a whole bunch of consumer debt, no matter what the interest rate is, AP, it could be 3. It could be student loans. It could be any number of things. I want to put solar on the house. Solar costs $35,000. I still want to, but that's all I can do because I can't go $35,000 into debt, right? How are they going to do something like that? These are the reasons why you are going to entice someone to answer the phone when you call, to call you back after you leave a voicemail, to respond to your email. You got to put yourself in the mind of the person who you're targeting. What is going on in their life that they either have or don't have access to, that they could have access to. Now, I'm going back to the screenshot here because I want you to see something. Well, Ed, what if maybe they did get a second mortgage? So here's first position loan values, first position loan date. Well, how would I know? Did they get a second mortgage? Well, right there. Second position lender name, second position interest rate, second position lender first name. So it looks like here, Leon lent some money to this particular person as a personal loan, and they attached it to the house at 3 5/8. Okay, that's not bad, but I can see any other recorded information as of right the heck now if there, anybody else has a second mortgage on their house, okay? So there's another one right there from Wells Fargo, but let's see, there's 4 more. HUD, okay? That's probably a purchase money second. And I'm just kind of keeping looking on down here. You notice First Horizon, that company went belly up. Beneficial, that's a finance company. Countrywide, so that's purchase money. So notice that out of all the 82, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15 of the 82 that have a second mortgage. You think I can go and get those people to talk to me about doing a refi? I'm going to tell you yes. I'm going to tell you yes. And you better have the same level of confidence, because that's how you need to come across these folks. You are a solution provider that they haven't entertained, and they probably haven't entertained it because that deal that they got on that first loan, that refinance, that modification, any of those reasonings are going to come into their mind where they're like, oh, why would I ever touch this? It's because of the availability of the cash. Here's a simple thing that you can entertain as well. There's another reason why. You got so much equity available in your home right now, and you can still borrow at historically ridiculously low rates in comparison. And you can show them a chart, okay, of where rates are generally. But let's say you borrow at 4% on your owner occupied home. Great. What can you do with that $500,000 or with that $350,000? How about you go buy a cash flow investment property? Okay. They didn't have the money to do that, but they can go and buy a home because of the equity that they have in their house, in their present home, to create cash flow, and have it not cost them anything month after month, as long as it's rented, right? They could buy a bunch. They could buy a whole bunch of smaller condos around the local junior college or something like that, and have them rented that way. Whatever the strategy is, these are things that you can have in mind as you're having your dialogue with these folks. There's different things that they haven't even entertained doing with that money, other than, you know, I'd really love to pay off my debt, pay off my kid's student loan, be able to pay for the wedding that's coming up. I'd like to buy a new car. I don't want to spend, you know, the 7% interest rate on the car. I'd rather get it at 4%, you know, and I don't want to pay $800 a month for my lease. I'd rather pay, you know, $100 extra a month in my car, in my home payment, and write it off. You follow me? So your experience, your life experience is no different than these folks. They're just in a different place. And so what would you think of? What would be the things that are entertaining to you to do with that money if you had it available to yourself? Okay. Love to be debt free and to be able to write off the interest on the home that I have, you know, especially 100%. Wouldn't you? I mean, heck yeah. Wouldn't you love to be able to, you know, spruce up the house? Because you're not entertaining leaving, you're staying there, right? So maybe it's about, you know, putting an addition on, or putting a swimming pool in, or doing the solar, or whatever else. Those kinds of things. Summer's coming. This is Brentwood. It gets to be over 100 degrees. So, you know, it could be anywhere. Fill in the blanks, you guys. But you got to put yourself into the position that these folks are in. All right. All right. So let me go back to this again.
And Ed, when you go back to this, I'm going to have you see, like, when you're doing your little search, is there a way that you can minimize it so that we can go to the little property search so we can show them the lead while it's collecting the data?
Go to
So
here.
Yeah, we can open a link in a new tab, property search.
Okay, I got blocked, but let me go here.
Now just click that little property search. Now, if you were looking at the other sheet and you notice the non-owners, those 15, when you're, I didn't want it to go there. I wanted it to go to the tab. Yep.
Which tab?
To the first tab where it says
Okay,
property, where you can plug in the name.
Okay. Property search.
Mm-hmm.
Owner.
So see how it says address here? So when we click under property search, you just have to play around in each of the little tabs at the top. But here under owner, if you were to click that and you were to look up that person's name, it would show you in the county how many non-owner occupieds they own. So many times if somebody, you're going to do a little bit of advanced research, but if they own one, they might own 5. So
Right.
you do a little homework on that person and you know a little bit about their scenario prior to calling them. You're going to have the research. Now see how the columns, Ed, how they're filling in?
Yes.
As they're filling in, you can see that you're getting more and more of the data. The phone numbers, the emails, the things are starting to populate. Then this is at the point where okay, look, I have phone numbers, I have emails, I'm getting second mortgage interest rates. But then if you wanted to purchase and buy, see at the top right, there says filters. You can limit the transactions you want to buy by different little columns. Ed and I played around a little bit with that. Right now he has a good farm, he likes it. But it's really about clicking, playing around, seeing what you like, what you don't like. But in the beginning, when Ed pulled this farm, these columns were not completed.
Right.
They just were the name and the address. None of this other information was in there. So you can tell that it's gone out, it's fetched the different databases and it's bringing the information in.
So,
But I
mean,
wanted you to see under property, if you found somebody that was very interesting, you could actually look up their name in the county, see if they owned any other properties before you made a phone call. Just a
absolutely. Absolutely. So you notice, you guys, that there's information that you can find in here. I can reach out to these folks by phone, by email, by any number of different volumes. And every time I click on something in here, it resorts the data based on that information, So the cool thing about this is that this is all public info, but you have it at your fingertips now. You don't have to go to the library or any of the other different places to pull data anymore, to the county recorder's office. You can do it any way you want to do it. But I just want you to be prepared for all this kind of stuff so that you can find the data. And then, ultimately, you're way out here. Here's the AVM. Here's what their model is as to what the property says it's worth, what their automated valuation model come up with. And here's your loan to values over here. So if I just wanted to sort by LTV, there's some that are free and clear. Okay. Well, that's probably because they're showing an AVM of 0. So that math is kind of messed up, but whatever. But here's the lowest ones, 26% loan to value, 37, 39. And mind you, this is based on the recorded loans at the day that they were recorded. So these loans that are in here, if they're 10 years old or 15 years old, that these dollar amounts are less than this. So you got to do some basic, understanding of where are they in terms of loan to value, but it's never going to be any higher than this, except unless this AVM is all messed up. So yeah, there's some flexibility in the data, but you got a target now that you can go and be the arrow for. All these folks that are, below 60% loan to value, for sure, that they've got stuff that they can do. For sure. That's not going to be hard to do at all. And especially if they're VA or FHA, man, you got a layup in terms of doing a loan. It's just a matter of convincing it to them. Yeah.
There's another column that has F or V, which would probably be fixed or variables.
Yep.
Those folks that have variables are going to be seeing increases without doing anything. Their rates are going to go up.
You're doggone right. Okay. So here, this is what James is talking about. The V's here, and I can sort by this. So now it's, let me see if I can reverse sort. There you go. Here's all the variable data. Okay. So these are all folks that have a variable loan. Look at that. That's a lot. That is a lot. Now, they may have benefited from the last 10 years for sure, because rates have been on a steady down, but now they're on a steady up. So these folks might be saying, okay, so maybe now I should switch from my variable to a fixed rate. Yeah, I might end up with a higher interest rate than I'm paying right now, but I'm locking in that rate over the long term because which direction are interest rates going? Up. Maybe that's what they think in terms of their idea. Maybe that's your pitch and say, hey, look, you want to fix this in before it gets too late and the rates keep climbing and you're always chasing? Or would you rather stay where you are? Did you want some cash in hand? How can I be of service? You see what I'm saying? This is the amount of data that's available to you. All right.
And see at the top of your farm, it's yellow. It says phone number and email address order is being processed. Not all phone numbers and email addresses have been fulfilled. Email confirmation will be sent to you when the fulfillment is complete. It's important to wait for that because otherwise you won't get the percentages that you're expecting
You
for
got
the
it.
email or the phone numbers.
You got it. Absolutely right. All right. So Kel, so from here in the property,
Now what we want to do is, say for example, you speak another language and we can put in the last name, you know, a surname. Many times you're looking to speak your other language, and we have a person on the PAC WMT. She's from Thailand.
Mhm.
And she had very specific surnames. I did so much homework in my back office. This is not the only tool I have available. I have a whole team that works with me and helps me. And we found a farm for her. But this is a new feature that's in Fetch. All we have to do is type the last name.
Mhm.
And so if it's Jones Smith, I don't know, Espinoza, Singh, whatever you want to put, you can go ahead and put something there Ed, if you'd like.
What do you guys think? You want to do like a Hispanic surname?
Whatever somebody wants to throw out there.
David, give it to me, brother.
I'm about to say Track Coakley.
Spell it.
COLCLOUGH.
Oh, your last name.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll check for the state. How about that? If I can get this to work. Oh, required. Okay, never mind.
You have to put in the name, type it in what state he's in.
It won't let me. It's asking for county first. So
We'll go over there. Okay,
Go
you
over
can
there.
put a county.
okay, David, what county are you in?
This is Dorchester. Well, try Sumter County
SUMPTER?
without the P. South Carolina.
Okay. Shall I search the whole state first?
Sure. It'll be a whole lot more than you think.
Coakley family name is a prolific home buyer in South Carolina.
Well, we could also search the prison records. You'd probably find a few there too.
There's 100 right here.
Pretty impressive. You want to be talking to people that would have your same surname? There you go. There's something in common.
Now I want you to open a new browser and we're going to show them how to find the leads for divorces, for bankruptcies. This is to help your realtors.
Okay. Where do you want me to go? Statistics?
I want you to go, no, all the way where it says search for an address in the search bar.
Got it.
There, put some address there. And then next to it, instead of it saying phone and email, there's a little drop down. Click generate report. This is a very important. Now wait, before we click lead sheet, I want you to see this is where you get your taxes. You don't have to go to 1,000 county tax websites. You can click here for the address and pull your taxes for each of your properties. So you would pull profile and comps and you would pull taxes here. So go ahead and put lead sheet, Ed.
Okay. And generate?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys, what Kelly just mentioned to you guys is insanely valuable. Being able to get the tax bill information on any loan that you submit, especially a loan that you submit to UWM, you need that tax data to submit to get the ultimate submission and also to increase your chances of getting a property waiver. So it's incredibly important that you can just click on that thing and get the tax bill, because going out to the county recorder's office, finding the property, you sometimes need to have the APN or the present owner's name and whatever. It could be any number of different things that slow you down, that take time to go and do this. Kelly has had to do this her entire career and go and find all these different county properties, websites and pull this information, or request the data through the title bank back before we even had the web, which was ridiculously long to get this information. So just giving you the heads up. All right, so now we got the report. Click here.
The taxes are also in the home value estimator now.
Yeah, they are, but that's not fully sufficient for them to get you that CD at initial. I mean, they can be if you use both of their reports. And I'm going to tell you, David, that it's important to do, because if you're not going to UWM, let's say example, you want to have the information anyway, because you need to submit it to where you're sending that loan. My suggestion to you guys is this: every loan that you have, pretend, even though it may not, act as though that loan is going to go to UWM and you're trying to get that ultimate submission every single time. If you follow those rules and you get in the habit of doing that every single time, all of your loans are going to go much more smoothly than, the ones where you just kind of piecemeal stuff in there. So I want you to be able to have the resources, which is what this is, to be able to have that information at your fingertips. You got a property profile report that has all the data on it from there. You've ordered your prelim and you're waiting on that to arrive. But before it arrives, you can present with this information subject to the pre-arriving, which might sometimes take a couple of days, maybe even longer, depending upon where that property is or how long it takes, or the bank of information, wherever they're getting that info from. It could be a rural property. I don't know, any number of different reasons. So property profile and that tax record, that tax bill, submit it to the lender and let them at least get started. They can at least take a look at what's there, and that you've got a first and a second, and the potential tax lien that's on there or something else that's showing on that property profile. So let's talk about what we're looking at right here now.
Well, this is, as you can see that in this little form that he pulled up, there's 63 liens and the average LTV is 55. There's affidavits of death, which we've been working trying to come up with something. The affidavits of death are extremely high. They're not the easiest loans, but it's due to COVID the last few years. The notice of the trustee sales, the notice of default, bankruptcies, divorce, probate liens will come up in here, and you would be able to just buy whatever you wanted to the right if you have money in your wallet. So if you're working with realtors and you're trying to get business and get a listing, you could practice and work a couple of these leads and see if it's going to be a listing. So my realtors love this lead sheet inside their farm. They freak out over it because inside of their MLS, they have to pay for an integration that is about $50 a month, which is $600 a year to get the data. That property is integrated into that little proprietary system, is integrated into our software. So it's a big deal if you can show them how to get an account from Kelly and they start buying their leads up in here, and I get paid nothing. This is totally against SB 133. We are able to provide the information, but the clients have to purchase it so that it is compliant. But instead of them paying $600 a year, they get it free with my account. So it's a big deal. There's just so much data, and every day Ed and I are taking classes, courses, YouTube. I'm going to drop the YouTube video in the link, in the chat link, but there is so much information in here. I can't even take enough classes to find the data. And I get excited and overwhelmed and thrilled about every little thing that we find in here, because it generates actual applications. My clients are getting orders and they're happy that they're not sitting there going, what am I going to do now that the interest rate is low? For all of you that put your email, or high, I should say, interest rate is higher. For all of you that put your email in the chat with your phone number, you already have a welcome to fetch email. Your credentials are sent. You can get off the phone. You can go in there and play with this. I have your emails. I will send you out an interest rate chart so that you can review it. It's the history of the interest rate since 1952, 53, when they started, for perspective for your clients. But I hope you'll get to play around in here. You want to buy a farm, you're stuck. All you have to do is email me, and I will actually email the vendor. And if you want to buy leads, they'll find a way to help you buy those leads.
So check this out, y'all. This is the data that you're looking at here. For the 91 homes within 2.5 miles of the address that I plugged in here, These are the life events that are going on. So within a 2.5 mile radius of that address, that's the search radius that it did. This isn't the whole city. This isn't anything like this. It's just within a 2.5 mile bubble, okay, around this particular address. There are 91 potential properties that could be listed for sale, right? Just because somebody filed bankruptcy doesn't mean that they're going to sell their home, but it's probable. Because somebody divorced doesn't mean they're going to sell their home, but it's possible. You know, the 63 liens that are on there, some of those liens may be garbage liens, and it's like $30, big deal. But some of them could be tax liens. I mean, they're 50,000, 30,000, any numbers of different of thousands. And the affidavits of death, obviously, it could be from COVID or whatever, but it could be one of the vested owners. It could be both. It could be none. I mean, whatever the situation, it's creating conversation at the very least. And if you're sitting with a real estate agent for the first time, or within the time frame when you're just getting to know that person and you're starting to build that relationship, how does a lender bring them value? Look at your screen. Do they necessarily even know that they have this information available to them? Maybe. Are they doing anything with it? Probably not. Not if they're meeting with y'all. I mean, seriously, they're probably not. I mean, they'd be too busy to meet with y'all if they were working all of these different things. 91 houses in a 2.5 mile radius? Man, that's 90 days of work right there, for sure. And that's with one search, you all. That's with one search. So what I want you guys to recognize is that you could sit with these people and show them this stuff and really give them some kind of specific information about how you can direct them in terms of helping them find new listings. This is a way for you to do it. And then you can help them create that campaign, show them how to get in touch with these people, cross-reference this information with emails and phone numbers. I mean, door knock the neighborhood, whatever you all want to do. Kelly, in the chat, I'm seeing that the link isn't working right now. And I'm wondering, well, it might be that I don't know, what I'm seeing, it just says youtube.com. But anyway, just giving you a heads up.
Can you click on the buy now, any one of the buy nows?
Yes, I
Oh,
can.
I'm talking. That is the way it's copied on Jim Dubois. So if you click it, it may go straight to, you're going to see it say Venue Tech Title Toolbox. Ours is called Fetch, but they're the application provider of it, and we pay for different features than other title companies.
Okay.
Is it working?
Yeah, I'm clicking on the buy now right now for Seymour's benefit.
And we do run, Seymour, we do run, and team, we run specials where if you bought $20, you would get 20 free. If I ever have a special, you will be included in the email so that you could get double the discounts. And AP wrote that this cuts his time and saves him so much time. So I'm grateful for that.
It's like the best news today.
Yeah. So you guys see what we're looking at here. So there's the list of the properties that came up, and these all have a lien. Okay. So I could buy this list. There's 53 properties. It's going to cost me $42 to get it if I wanted to. And these are properties that currently have a lien, and they are within that boundary search, that radius search around the address that I plugged in. Is it worth it for me to go ahead and do this presently as we're looking at this? Not necessarily. I mean, it would be if I was targeting people that had liens on their house and I had a campaign and then I wanted to attack, and basically go after these folks. But you see the resources that are available, that are at your fingertips here, you guys, simply by having the knowledge that something like this exists. I'm going to submit to you, some of you maybe had the knowledge that it existed. Some of you maybe didn't. But the bottom line is now you do. And you can use it for your own benefit. You can use it for the benefit of your real estate agents. You can use it for your mutual benefit, obviously. And it's simply just a matter now of having the data. Now, what I think is important to also, I'm seeing that people have their hands raised up. So actually, let me go there first. Go for it, you guys. Let me see if I can call on Monica. Go.
Yes, my question is for Kelly, just to make sure, to sign up for Fetch is free for the realtors, but they only have to pay for their leads. Is that correct?
Correct. And I would need to set them up with their account.
Okay.
And obviously it's our goal to try to get business.
Right.
That is the goal. And in their MLS, I really never sold Fetch to my realtors because in their MLS that they pay for, they have something that's called RPR, which is an amazing resource. It has more data than I could have, and some of the data is free. So if we're going to do something for a realtor, I would like you and I to have at least like this, a little one-on-one conversation so that I could, try to save them the cost of the money versus I know what we can get for free and what we have to pay for. In lender world, we don't pay for MLS and we don't have that. So this is a valuable tool for us. So I'll help you individually and your realtors, Monica.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So again, and then James, you had a question.
Yeah, there is no link. It just says youtube.com. There's no link.
Okay, I'm going to get it from his email and I will send it with the interest rate flyer that I'm going to send out so you guys can access his videos. There's trainings. You'll even see Ed and I on trainings in there. There's
Yep.
a lot of trainings and that's what I do. I go in there and I try to take a class to teach myself something new all the time because when they do upgrades, they're always emailing us. Taxes weren't available before, taxes are available now. So as we add more features, it's nice to use their video trainings. But like I said, if you need help, you tell me, they're there so that they can help you and I'll hook you up.
Kelly, I put the video in there. That's their channel there.
Thank you, David.
I got you, girl.
I appreciate you.
All right, I'm gonna cancel up out of here and go to here. So let me stop this share for a minute. Boom. Okay, y'all. James, your hand's still up. Is your question answered?
Yeah, my question is answered. Sorry.
No worries. It's all good. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so look.
James, put in the chat your phone number. I need that to set your account up.
Okay. So now we've talked about, all kinds of different things during Renegade for the calendar year so far. But from just getting your mind right to getting your systems in place to having the spreadsheets, the tracking, all that other kind of information. We talked about different resources that, in terms of sales technique and things to that effect for so far. This is an actual ready to go tool that you all have access to that is it's nationwide, correct, Kelly? Did I lose my friend? Where are you, Kel? There you are.
There. Yes, it is nationwide.
Okay, so you got nationwide access to whatever information is there. It's basically public record information, y'all. But I mean, it's a gold mine. Okay, in a nutshell, this is a gold mine. Back when I was young and I had hair, we to get this information, James got that. but to get this information was almost impossible, if not incredibly difficult to do. The fact that this is at your fingertips and that you can plug in here and it's simply just a matter of instead of going to Applebee's tonight and spending the $42, because you guys are big spenders, y'all can get in and get yourself a list of people that could potentially bring you tens of thousands of dollars in commissions. You follow what I'm saying? A lot of the time when I'm teaching folks about how to go about doing this stuff, the money gets in the way. Okay, the cost of the list can get in the way. You don't have to append for phones and emails if you don't want to. If you want to do a direct mail campaign, be my guest. But I'm going to promise you something about direct mail. Postage is expensive. Okay, so way more expensive than an email or a phone number. So unless you're letting your fingers do the walking, and in which case, meaning that you're actually putting your feet on the ground and knocking doors, there ain't no other way to get in touch with these folks. So I'm going to suggest that you append a list, you get a list, just like what we've done right now. And if you need help doing a search, get on my calendar and I'll walk you through this stuff. Okay. It's not that complicated, but I can walk you through it. You can share your screen and I can say, okay, point there, do this, do that. And we'll be able to create a list for you that you can then download and utilize. My desire is the same as it ever was. It's for you guys to get in action. And for you guys, there's only one thing that gets you better as a loan officer, in my opinion. There's only one thing, and that's doing loans. We can study all day long, We could play with numbers all day long. Kelly and I can get lost in the vortex on Fetch, man. I'm telling you right now, we could spend hours.
We do. We're hilarious.
Totally could spend hours looking at data. Look at that. We could do this. Oh my God. Yay. You know, it'd be like just going into the Facebook vortex. Seriously, it's like, oh my gosh, look at all this different stuff that we could do. I want you all to identify a target. The email that I sent to a lot of you guys last night, hopefully you all got it, had 4 different attachments of just emails that were sent to me in the last 24 to 48 hours from different lenders. Okay. If you should have been able to open those up and look, there's niches in all of them. There was one for you, Seymour, about from Plaza, because they were talking about manufactured housing. So I figured I'll drop that in there for Seymour just in case he wanted to look at that.
I didn't get the email.
You did too. Did you not?
No.
Check your junk folder because I sent it to you. I know I did.
Okay.
So if nothing else, did you put your email again in the chat today?
No, I'll put it in.
Yeah, please do. That's my hope, is for you guys to look at those things and identify a niche that resonates. Hear me? I want it to resonate with you. Monica, do me a favor. Pull your camera down so I can see you more than just the top of your head. There. Thank you. I want to. That didn't work at all. There. Now I see you. Look at that. You got beautiful colors on. I want to see that smiling face. But all the rest of you that don't have your camera on, the only one that's exonerated is Kelly, and we know that there's some there might be some fibbing going on there, but nevertheless,
That is not true. Okay, now listen, David, you got my back, but I think we got the wrong channel, so I'm gonna cut and paste the new venue tech.
perfect.
Yeah, that's what I was asking because I wasn't sure if that was the right channel.
All right, so the idea here for you guys, because here's I'm going to predict the future. Okay. You got this resource now and it's exciting. And you're going to get in here and you're going to start playing with it a little bit. And you're going to be looking around and something is going to happen between today and Monday. And it's called fear. And it's going to attack. And you're going to be like, oh my God, what do I do now? How do okay, if I pull this, is it the right list? Is it the right information? What if, the information that I download doesn't work and nobody responds to my marketing campaign, because I'm wearing a red shirt and I live in Arizona. That's why. That's the reason why. Or whatever, you name it. There's going to be any number of different pirates that are going to jump into your skull and tell you 1,000 reasons why not to do something. Take the first step. And what I'm begging you to do, what I'm begging you all to do, is to take that leap of faith. If you don't want to spend more than $25, limit your list so that you only spend $25 and then give it a try and see how it works. But do a little bit for yourself. Provide the evidence to yourself that you've got this. You do have it. Every single one of you keep showing up you're like clockwork. You're here all the time. And I've got full confidence in you. And God forbid you stepped on something where somebody said, yeah, I'd like to do a loan with you. And you're like, now what? Okay. All right. That's when you pick up your phone and you say, Ed, help me. And I'm here for you.
That's
okay?
happened to me already.
See, I know it's true because I've been there myself. All right.
I even pulled out my book and everything.
Monica goes, oh my God, somebody said yes. What do I do now? Wait. Okay.
Reminds me of a cartoon I saw a long time ago where a monkey was chasing a tiger and he was running after the tiger and eventually he grabbed the tiger by the tail. And then he's like, now what? He didn't know what to do with the tiger once he had the tiger by the tail.
That was me.
That's it. So goodness sakes. So my point to you all is this, okay? Understand and know it in your mind today. Something like that's going to happen. These roadblocks, these obstacles, I'm telling you, I don't know if you all are spiritual or not, but God puts them in your way for a reason. Those things are there to provide evidence to you that you can overcome. Okay, that is it, and that is all. It is simply just that for that one reason only. It is sitting there saying, hey, David, put your money where your mouth is, man. Tell me that you're going to be able to get this done. Show me that you're going to be able to get this done. People pray. I'm going to say this like this. People pray for courage. I need to be more courageous. You don't automatically get blessed with courage. You get a situation that gets thrown in your face that requires you to be brave. That's what you get.
You gotta
Okay,
be very careful praying for courage.
I'm telling you.
Biting into that's that tiger you don't want to grab.
So
That's exactly right. You'd be down at the 7-Eleven, all of a sudden you're getting held up. You're like, okay, how brave am I?
real quick question.
Yeah.
So the phone number and email data, is that the phone number and email data from the day that they recorded the loan?
No, it's a third-party
So that's
service
the
that
most-
does it. So it's going out there and it's
Okay.
doing the search for information on the World Wide Web, and it's collecting that data for you and delivering it to you. You're going to get, by the way, AP, you're going to get mobile phone numbers and landline phone numbers and VoIP, VoIP. That's voice over internet. Okay, those are the different types of lines that you will get, depending upon if you're using, a voice broadcast system or whatever you're using to get in touch with them. Otherwise, just dialing the numbers, whatever you're doing, you can integrate that into different types of services, depending upon what capability the service has.
I usually use a background checker to get my phone number and emails. I wanted to see, but I noticed that there's a huge cost difference when you don't search for phone numbers and emails, and it's almost worth it for me to just search for the high interest rate. There's 23,000 properties in Tucson that have interest rates above 5%. And I can get every one of the phone numbers and emails from a background checker. This is an
sounds to me like
amazing
you're gonna be a
tool.
busy man.
This literally cuts my time. I said a fourth earlier, but no, this cuts my time. It's going to take me 10% to get the same data that I was doing by going cross-referencing through sometimes 4 data sources together.
So, and hey, look,
This is really amazing.
what I'm going to tell you all is this, okay? No amount of data search providers, this kind of information is 100% empirically correct all the time. You're going to get some information that's going to be a fallout. Some of it's going to be wrong, okay?
85% maybe.
Exactly. So if you can have that kind of faith, though, that 85% of the data is good, man, that's a good number. I'm telling you, that's a fantastic number. So don't get hung up on the stuff that, oh, this was incorrect, that was not. It's all right. It's okay. My encouragement to you, and this is the way that I approach this stuff. I try to get a list, my initial raw data, before I append it for anything like phones and emails in particular. But if I got my rate in there, I'm looking for, refinance candidates, and I get a sample size that's around 500. Okay. That's usually what I'm targeting, is around 500, because then when I append it for phones and emails, the actual number of phones and emails both that I'm going to get is around 60% of that number, roughly. Okay. So that means I'm going to have around 300 people to whom I can market. If I've got a phone number and an email address, an address, and I know your interest rate approximately and how much you have against your house, how much you've borrowed against your house, I know whether or not I've got a program for you, and I know whether or not I'm going to be able to get in touch with you. And at 300 names, if I put them into some kind of a campaign where I'm calling them more than once, and I'm sending them more than one email, because heck, we can't even send email within our own company without it ending up in junk, let alone trying to send something outside of this company right now. So, right? So you know that you're going to have to do multiple attempts to get in touch with these people. You put that together, say, I'm going to try and reach these people over the next 10 days. I'm going to try and reach out to them in 8 different ways. I'm going to send them a text. I'm going to call. I'm going to send them an email. I'm going to use a video email. I'm going to use a video text message. I'm going to do an audio voicemail in terms of voice broadcast. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to try a bunch of different ways to get in touch with somebody and have them tell me yes or no. Okay. Whatever you want to put it together. If you need some advice, you want some help, I'm here for you. Okay. But you do that in 10 days period of time of 300 folks that you've got both of that, all that information, you're going to get some people that are going to respond. It's inevitable. There's people that will respond. So if you can't sit here and tell me that you don't want a loan by the 5th of March, then I'm going to shake your head and neck. Okay. Okay. If you would like to have someone do
be nice.
Okay. If you want to do loans, you got 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, you could have at least 1 or 2 folks that have basically said put their hand in the air and said, let's take a look and see.
So it's not regarded as spam, is it?
I don't
Hey,
care if it is.
Hey, Ed, let me explain the spam because I talked I talked to John Sandoval yesterday.
Yeah, go for that.
So they increased they increased the filter. In other words, less emails were getting to your inbox and a lot were going to your spam folders. A lot. That's different than the notifications or newsletters. So go to your spam, and each email you can go to it on the very right-hand side of that email. There's a little button or a little arrow or something. You can click on that and it says, mark this as not spam. And you need to go to everyone because it's spamming stuff from UWM.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
spamming
that's right.
everything. So you need to go in there and each one by one, you need to make sure, mark these as not spam. And that should help going forward.
It's not working. I did that the other day, and last night I had another whole bunch of them.
Well, keep doing it. If it's maybe just a slightly different email address, it'll do the same thing.
This
But you
morning,
might-
my client, if you guys are trying to reach me and I don't answer you, you text me. Because this morning, my client said to me, I've been reaching you for 2 days and they increased our filters across the board because of wire fraud. And none of my clients' emails were even coming for our whole office. So there's something in their browser or something that our company wasn't liking. So if you don't reach us, you just continue to reach out because we are all getting sent to spam somewhere.
Yep.
Did everybody here get their login credential? The subject line is "Welcome to Fetch" by WFG.
My guess is no, because the reports that I ordered went straight into the junk folder of mine too.
Okay.
But they're there. So check your junk folder, you guys.
Okay.
So why did they toss you out?
Hey, there's no telling. There's no telling.
Actually, it's spam, not junk, spam folder.
I have an overlay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So you guys, if you're going directly into Zoho, it's spam. I have an overlay on top of it. I use Outlook, which puts it into a junk folder. It just is what it is. Anyhow, so any more questions on how to utilize this? No?
No, this is great. This is a great tool. Many great tool.
Fantastic tool. And but I'm going to tell you right now, inexpensive in comparison to the other services. I don't know what AP, you do some sort of third-party services. Is that right?
So basically I use county data and state data, and then I use a background checker. And the background checker, bear in mind that I'm having to do one thing at a time, but I'm basically taking the address or the title information, put in the background checker, and then from there I'm able to figure out what when they got the mortgage and who owns it, and then I'm guesstimating the rate based on Fannie and Freddie historic rate records. But this is actually just taking care of a lot of stuff for you. It was good data that I was getting, but it was very slow process for each lead. This is just, okay, now I have a list of everything and I can just run it with my background checker. I use Truth Finder, by the way. It's like $39 a month if you do the emails, the phones, and the background checkers. Highly recommend it. And combination of that with this, you won't need to buy the phone numbers from this. You can just get the phone numbers from Truth Finder.
Put the link for True Finder in the chat, please.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to put a link in here. It's called Data Zap. It's a sales executive at Data Zap. Whatever you purchase on these lists are not scrubbed against the do not call. And you can take this Data Zap gentleman. He will take 1,000 leads, scrub it from the opt-out for $5. So I'm going to put that in the chat for you all.
Yeah. It's basically like a half a penny per lead or something like that. It's pretty awesome stuff. See, Kelly, look, your camera's trying to access your face. All right. So
Do not call us. That's a great source of leads, by the way.
That's weird. Why is it doing that, Ed?
what the heck? I'm no geek. I don't understand this stuff. All I do is know how to use it. That's about it.
Well, this is an account executive that has helped a bunch of people at PAC WM. One of your employees gave me the lead, and a lot of my agents and my loan officers are using this data. It's a really cheap opt-out option.
Massively cheap. And then you can at least say that you scrubbed it, and you have the evidence that you've done so, which is smart and it's the wise way to go. All right. For those of you who do not know, I don't know if you guys can do this or not. You guys tell me. In the chat function, there are 3 little things on the, if you were to type in a chat, is there one that has the 3 little dots? Can you guys see the 3 little dots in the chat function if you were to go in and type a chat right now?
Yeah.
Okay, if you click on the 3 dots, there it should come up where it says save chat.
Right.
You could save all the information that everybody's been plugged in there, and will immediately save it into a folder that you can immediately access. So you can, that way you'd have whatever information's been plugged in there, because we're about to end this meeting and I don't want you all to lose that opportunity. So I'm going to do that right now. I just did it. And it's going to say show in folder is the next thing that popped up. And now I'm looking at it and I'll give you an idea. Boom. Okay. So you can see what mine looks like right there, meeting saved chat in my Zoom folders. Okay. So now I'll be able to go in and communicate with anybody who dropped their email address in there or whatever else. Okay. So just so you have an idea, you can do that too. If you need anybody's contact info. Some of y'all, and I messaged some of y'all yesterday, or I tried to connect with you on Facebook. Some of you guys either aren't on Facebook or I couldn't find you, or it didn't say that you were working for PWM. And I'm wondering if is this the same person? I don't know. If you aren't on there, I put my information in the email that I sent to you as well. Seymour, I'm going to send it to you again with your updated email and see if I can't get through to you. Maybe the copy and paste that I did, did something wrong with your email address. I don't know, but I'll get you that first email and then another one here today too, just so you guys can stay in touch. And if what I loved about what was going on after hours last night was that we were communicating and saying, you know what, we can create our own culture. And that's exactly what Renegade is. Renegade is its own culture in and of itself. Okay, you get stuff here that you don't get in the rest of the company. Okay, and my desire is obviously to create a culture of folks that are interested in doing something. Okay, in terms of getting their loan business up and running, and you guys are it. All right, and then you get to be, folks just like me who do the exact kind of same thing for your own culture. You create your own culture, whatever that culture happens to be. Oregonians for Pacific Wholesale, whatever, Sky, you do it. Previous dog veterinary field working loan officers, you and Stephen Cabral, you'd be tight as thieves. Okay. Whatever it takes, Joshua Tree mortgage lenders, whatever it takes, Seymour, you name it, but you could create your own kind of culture where everyone is helping one another, which is exactly what I want to create in here. And not just in here, but in this company. Because with that, it creates a stickiness to us, and it goes beyond the name that you wear on your shirt. It goes beyond, the fact that you're stuck at home and working from your home office all by yourself, and it's hard to get motivated, Monty. I know what you're saying, because ain't nobody there cheering you on. And that's what this culture can do. This is exactly what this is. This is why I want this to work for every single one of y'all, because you're trying, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So that's why I introduce you to people like Kelly Snowden, who's a superstar. That's why I point you in the direction of these account executives that have been around the block more than once and know what the heck they're doing, because I don't want you wasting your time. I want you doing well. Okay, so my hope for you all is that you take a minute, either later today or over this 3-day weekend, if you guys are taking a break on Monday. David, I'm going to say an extra prayer for you, because 4 boys and you, oh boy.
We're all going to get some bourbon this afternoon. I'm going to give the 4-year-old going to have bourbon. He's going to be the first thing I'm going to give a bourbon to.
On the gums when they're teething. That's what we did.
Thank you, everybody, so much for the opportunity.
Thanks,
Ed,
Jill.
I appreciate you and the team. Everybody, just email me, ksnowden@wfgtitle.com. I'll re-forward your credentials. I don't want to mess up his name. It's AKAN. I just sent, how do I say your name?
Oksana, I think, is who you're talking about.
Yes.
Akansha,
I just
and I
received
finally
the
got it.
credentials.
Yeah, Kelly, I just got it now.
Okay,
Thank you so
perfect.
much.
All
Yeah,
right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ed. I hope you guys have a wonderful 3-day holiday and you get to play with our new tool. Email me if you need me to hook you up with the vendor to get help. I appreciate the opportunity, Ed. Thank you for being a great partner.
I'll talk to
Thank
you.
you, Kelly.
All right.
Everybody else's benefit, because I think Kelly's on her way. Kelly does title and escrow. So if you need to open an order, you might want to consider the people that help you. And she's one of those resources. If you haven't already reached out to her and set up the account and had a conversation with her, please do so. She's a superstar. I mean, I can't endorse anybody in title and escrow higher. And maybe your state doesn't do the same stuff that we do out here in Cali. You got, escrow and title are separate if you're in Southern Cal or whatever the reasoning is. It's a great place to start. She's an incredible resource. She'll point you in the right direction, even if you guys can't be doing business together for whatever obscure reason. But that's a great place to start. And I can't endorse her highly enough. She's the greatest. So just give her a holler.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. You guys make me blush. Much love to you all. And what Ed failed to tell you is I have a 20 plus, almost 25-year background in lending. So I came from lending. So lenders are my heart. And I know that we make the whole world go round. And you could even call me and say, Kelly, I need this deal for my commission split this month. I don't care. I'll help you get your docs out and I'll make things happen for you.
Very good.
All right. If y'all need to get in touch with me, there's my calendar link in the chat. You guys can book a time with me anytime you need to. Be happy to help you in any way that I can.
Ed, can you read any messages sent to you in the chat?
Yes.
Okay. I sent you a message.
I saw. I definitely saw that. And I will give you an update outside of the class. Cool.
I'm here.
All right, y'all. Anybody need anything?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Happy President's Day weekend, y'all. Take care.
Another great class.
Thank you, Ed. Have a nice day, everyone.
You too.